Now let's talk about the changes grid. IMA accepts changes and updates to in-process and operational items from the data pool/catalog for specific fields. So this is a list of all the fields that IMA will accept from the data pool catalog provider to change or update item information. There are some fields where the changes cannot be synced over and have to be created within IMA. Many of these changes can be created using the changes grid. Now, this is a list of all the fields that can be updated using the changes grid. So a special note about cost changes. For Sears items that have cost changes, they must be initiated and approved in the vendor role within IMA. The change must then be approved through the merchant role. So occasionally the merchant will initiate that cost change, but it's still going to have to be approved by the vendor. It has to be approved by both roles. Now for Kmart cost changes, that change is not created directly in IMA. The merchant or vendor must complete the change through the price management application. So this is a separate application from IMA, and the merchant might make the change request, or I know sometimes vendors actually will go in and make the change request in this application. That will be between you and your merchant. So if you will be working in the price management application, I did provide the link there for you for more information, as well as the email pricechangerequest@searshc.com. Please reach out to them if you have any questions about the price management application. Alright, so now we're actually going to go into IMA and I'm going to do a changes grid demo for you. Feel free to open up IMA yourself and follow along if you have any change requests that need to be done that can be done using the changes grid. So to access the changes grid, you're going to hover over Data Catalog and you're going to click Change Existing Items. So in the very first section, you'll want to select the fields that you want to create the change request for. So we're just going to select cost. But there are quite a few that you can choose from, and all of these have to be done through the changes grid. These particular fields cannot be synced over from your data catalog provider. So in section 2, you have a few options for indicating which items you want to make the change request for. Over on the left side, if you have specific criteria, such as G10s, KSNs, or core div items, you can enter those here. Now what's really nice about this, whenever you see the up arrow and the down arrow field, you can copy and paste directly into that field. So you could copy a list from Excel, or Microsoft Word, or maybe an email, and just paste it directly in. Now if you don't have specific criteria, you can use the right side of your screen to search for the items you're wanting to make the change request for. So you can select your order dones, the division, category, subcategory, or most likely the one that's going to be the most useful for this will be your vendor stock number. Otherwise, if you just select this information up here, depending on how long you've been a vendor with us, you may come back with a lot of search results. At that point, you would click search. You'd be able to review the search results and select which ones you want to do the change request for. But we are going to stick with the left side of the screen since we do know specific KSNs I'm wanting to do the change request for. So I'm going to click Create Grid. And again, one of the first things I'm going to have to do is name my grid. It may take a few seconds to load. Typically, the more items you have on here, the longer it's going to take to load. Now you can do change requests, multiple change requests, for up to 50 items at a single time. So this can be much more efficient than creating those change requests in single edit, the older way that we used to have to do change requests in IMA. You used to have to do it one at a time. Now you can do it for up to 50 items. So this is our default view. I had selected that I wanted to do a cost change. So here we can see this is displaying in our default view. The box is selected up at the top. And in the second line, we can see there's a green highlight. That's where we're supposed to put our updated value. But let's say we created our change request grid and we realized we forgot some fields that we wanted to do a change request for these items as well. Now you don't have to just do the cost change, approve it, and go back and create a whole new grid for those other fields. We can go locate those in this existing grid. So let's go to the vendor packs tab. And let's say I also wanted to change the vendor stock number. And then let's say I'm going to go to the packages tab and I wanted to change the brand. So every time I select it, you'll see that once the check mark has been selected, that we get that green highlight for our new value. Unless that's there, we actually can't enter any new value. Alright, so to get back to my default view, I'm going to click Changes right here. And now you'll see that all of those additional fields that I went and selected now display in my defaulted view. So let's go ahead and enter our new values. Maybe this was supposed to be Covington Woman instead of Covington for the brand. And then I agreed with the merchant to change the cost to $10.50. So we'll enter that. And then finally, it's not the vendor stock number I want to use. I typed it out wrong. It wasn't really supposed to have that, the 3 final digits at the end. So I'm going to fix that. Alright, so once you've entered your new values, you can go ahead and click Approve. Just like with the new item grid, it's going to take us to our grid history page. Oh, actually that's a little different than what it should be doing. I think that's just because it's with the QA environment. This is our testing environment, so it doesn't always behave 100% how it's going to in production. So let me click that one more time. There we go. That's what's going to happen whenever you submit a changes grid. It's going to take you to your grid history page. Here we can see it's queued. In a moment the page is going to refresh. We'll see that we'll say busy or processing. And then it will eventually come back as either approved. Oh, there we go. It already skipped the busy because it just got approved that quickly. So now we can see it's already completed. So if this came back with errors, you would see a grid button over here on the right side under Action. You could click that and re-access your grid and review your errors. Alright, quick knowledge check. Multiple change requests for up to how many items can be done at a single time in the changes grid? Up to 50 items at a time can have change requests created in the changes grid.